A movie based on the Smurfs should not be that hard. It's a bunch of little blue people in a village surrounded by trolls, goblins, and pixies, and an evil wizard that wants to hunt them down for his own nefarious purposes. And yet each movie that's come out has done something to completely miss the identity of the Smurfs, with the most recent film being the most egregious example. So where did it all go wrong? How do these new Smurfs properties not understand the Smurfs? Well, let's start off with the minor details that the general public wouldn't really know about. Smurfette. See, most people are aware of the idea that pretty much every Smurf in the village is male except for Smurfette, who's a lady. What most people may not know, unless you watch the second movie, is that Smurfette came to be thanks to Gargamel molding her out of clay in an attempt to sneak into the village and report its location back to him. She had a change of heart, and Papa initiated a spell that would turn Smurfette into a real, genuine Smurf, with other female Smurfs like Sassette being created in a similar way. This is the crux of the drama for the second live-action movie, the first CGI movie, and it appears to be that way for this new movie coming out as well. The idea that Smurfette feeling like she doesn't belong because she's not a genuine Smurf. That and the whole village aside from Papa always seem to be hitting on her. Now why is this an issue? Well, rather than Smurfette learning that she's welcome and belonging despite her origins, these new films seem to solve that problem just by making more girls. Now that's normally not an issue, introducing more characters into the franchise and whatnot, but the thing about the Smurfs is that they're kind of implied to be the only ones of their kind. That's what makes them so special, and that's why they go so hard to hide themselves. Other Smurf tribes existing would kind of defeat the purpose of something like, say, Gargamel being so laser focused on this particular village. If there are more out there, why not just go for other tribes? But Smurfette, despite being essentially the main character for a bunch of these movies, is a minor issue. There are other issues at play when it comes to these things, such as a mischaracterization of the Smurfs themselves. Now this is something that admittedly the most recent film is guilty of the most, Smurf having a quote-unquote thing.
But do you see what I'm saying, Papa? Well, your no name. That's a thing.
See, there's this misunderstanding when it comes to the Smurfs that their personalities are all one-note traits based on their name. Brainy is smart, clumsy is clumsy, jokey is a jokester, etc, etc, etc. And while that may be true for a lot of minor Smurfs, the others have a lot more personality than you'd expect. For example, Brainy isn't just smart, he thinks he's that smart, but really he's just a big know-it-all with little tidbits of knowledge, and is really insecure in himself, so he compensates with his brains in being a know-it-all.
6:30 you'll pull weed, brush your teeth, and read 5 chapters from The Wit and Wisdom of Brainy Smurf.
That's why everybody hates him, and that's why they're so keen on kicking him out of the village every chance that they get. Clumsy is clumsy, yeah, but he's also dim-witted with a good heart. That's why he's usually the only Smurf that will tolerate Brainy for more than 5 seconds.
Oh, I don't want to be with my friends, Brainy. I'd rather be with you.
You would?
Sure. I love you, Brainy.
Grouchy comes across like he hates everything, but he does have a few soft spots and hidden talents here and there.
I love the Smurfette too, but I hate anybody to know about it.
There's a lot more to these little blue guys than people want to give them credit for if they really took the time to look. But the thing that these new Smurfs properties tend to ignore the most, except ironically that one Nickelodeon show that came out a few years ago, is the greater world of the Smurfs at large. See, the Smurfs are so much grander than just Smurf Village. There's an entire world full of enchanted forests and castles, full of more dynamic characters that don't get used often. When adapting these characters into movies, usually the only antagonist that they bother to bring up is Gargamel, which, that makes sense, he is the most prominent antagonist and the one that is more personal to the Smurfs. But he was never the only one that the Smurfs have had to deal with. Where are characters like, say, Hagatha the Witch? How about Big Mouth the Ogre? What about the Wartmongers? Or shit, there's an entire other set of comics that the Smurfs spawned from, starring 2 characters named Johann and Peewit, who don't get any lip service the last I saw whatsoever outside of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Instead of exploring these kingdoms and forests, these lands full of pixies and kings, wizards and witches, goblins and ogres, the best these fucking people can come up with is, what if the Smurfs went to the real world? The third movie tried to do something different, well, with them exploring and finding a whole new tribe. But then, instead of adopting a new plotline, this new movie that's coming out seems to be adopting that third CGI movie and the former 2 live-action movies at the same time. On top of hopping on the whole multiverse trend, which, I'm sorry, but can we fucking slow down on the multiverse stuff? Spider-Verse did it, and it was amazing. The MCU did it, and it was fine. But seriously, Rick and Morty, Invincible, Everything Everywhere All at Once, fucking Beavis and Butthead. As of the writing of this script, I found out that they're doing a Big Bang Theory spin-off wherein Stuart, that guy who runs the comic book shop, is fucking trying to save the multiverse. Can we please relax a little with the multiverse stuff? Who asked for Into the Smurfverse? You have all of these characters and locations that have never been represented theatrically with the Smurfs, and the only thing you can think of are New York City, Paris, and for a new antagonist, rather than say Big Mouth or Hagatha, they just give us a multiverse version of Gargamel. Or it's his brother or some shit, I don't know. The fact that his name is really close to, but not exactly Gargamel, could lean to either one being true. The point of it all being that there's untapped potential for a gripping medieval setting with the Smurfs that gets shunned and tossed aside for real world shenanigans, pop culture references, and tired cliches. If you can't be bothered to try anything different with the franchise, then what's the point? Why bother wasting money on the same old storylines? Because of Rihanna? We already have a movie with an original Rihanna song where she plays one of the leads, surrounded by a bunch of quirky characters who all look the same. Thank you very much. Except this one has the Bazonga Man, so it's automatically better. I'll smurf you into Smurf until you're Smurfing blue, but you can call me Crit.